My name is Paul Hines. I work at Bang Fitness at 610 Queen Street West, so right in the neighborhood. I'm a personal trainer and strength conditioning coach, and this is the title of my talk, not just for the boys. So if any of you have questions about strength training, if you're wondering how do I implement that into my training regime, how do I use it to make my life easier, hopefully I can answer some of these, and if I can't, we'll have a Q&A at the end where you can go over everything. Next slide, please. So about me, like I said, work at Bang Fitness. That's our awesome logo, very cartoony, superhero themed. Our clientele consists of the broadest sense. We have everyone from stay-at-home moms to competitive athletes to 9-to-5ers just want to look better, feel better, and move better, and get stronger. What's interesting is that out of the broad range of clientele I work with, I would say about 70 or 80% are female. And that tells me that if you have the right environment, if you build the right environment wherever you are, if you have a good community, it's a lot easier to encourage people to get stronger, to move better, pursue their fitness goals, because by and large, the personal training is related to relationship. So if you don't connect with someone, it's going to be pretty hard to say. Like if I was to come up here and be really aggressive and a jerk, I'm pretty sure I'd have everyone turning around and like leaving the room right now. But anyway, next slide, please. So I'm going to preface my whole talk with this awesome quote from one of my favorite books, which is Dr. Seuss's All the Places You'll Go. It says, "You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose." Now, I don't have a problem with anyone, going to do yoga, going to do CrossFit, going to do, aquafit, going to do Zumba. That's great. Do whatever makes you happy. But what I have a problem with is people being told that they can't do something or shouldn't do something because of their gender. So hopefully I'm going to kind of touch on a few reasons why that's a little bit ridiculous. All right, next slide, please. So, out of show of hands, how many of you are performing or doing an exercise routine right now? Okay, so the whole room almost? Yeah? Shy with a very short hand? Yeah. When you think of exercising, what terms normally come to mind? Like when you look at a magazine with the variety of additives, what do you normally see that's related to exercise? Just shut them out if you got any ideas. Crickets. Chirp. What I normally see is very targeted words for subtracting or losing in the case of stuff that's targeted towards women. So you'll see trim down, you'll see slim, you'll see tighten, you'll see tone, you'll see very directed words aimed at what most women want, which is fat loss when they're looking at an exercise program. So I'm just asking some questions. Why is that the case? Why do we use those words with a certain gender, and then let's say with guys we use different words? So we go to the next slide. So yeah, most of the words targeted towards women involve the terms related to subtraction, and most terms related to guys involve terms related to addition. So getting bigger, stronger, larger. Doesn't have to be this way. That's my question. You have to look at the emotional reason why you exercise or why you pursue your fitness goal, and then think about, is that in line with what I'm reading in the mass media or seeing in magazines, and is that necessarily going to promote a healthy mindset and help me get to where I want to go? And ultimately that's what I do in my job, is make people more aware of what their bodies and their minds are capable of and how strong they can become as individuals. So we'll go next slide. So this is kind of my little ironic diatribe about society. We've made amazing strides in terms of social equality in the workplace, in politics, in pretty much every facet of society except for the fitness industry. And so as you can see, when we can vote, they can run for public office, they can pursue an education, they can be the primary wage earner, but they shouldn't lift heavy, they shouldn't be strong. You have some terms like girl push-ups, and stuff directly targeted towards women are designed or should be doing a regressive version of exercise. Women shouldn't be doing heavy things. And so I find that a little bit ironic. And you can, show of hands, who finds that a little bit weird? Who has never thought about that before? Okay, cool. Go to the next slide. So how many of you have walked into a commercial gym in the weight room and felt like this from the nursing nurse? Yeah. You see a bunch of big guys usually grunting and making really masculine noises, and you're like, wow, that doesn't seem like a place that I belong. And you probably feel like the little girl bear. I don't know how many of you read these books, but I was a big fan of them when I was a kid. Bearstein Bears, yeah, there you go, Stan and Jan Bearstein. A lot of it has to do with, again, I'm going to go back to this community topic and just a sense of being welcome. So, by and large, most people, not guys and girls included, go into a commercial gym. Why do they stay and why do they leave? A lot of times they stay because they have someone with them. They have a support system around them, or they have people that are making an effort to make sure they're doing things right. When people leave, guys and girls included, it's usually because they walk in, they don't know what they're doing necessarily, no one takes the time to show them, and then when they leave, no one follows up. And I think this is a big problem in our industry especially, is that we're so focused on, the training method or the diet or whatever, that we lose sight of the fact that it's about a connection. So if you can connect with someone and make them feel like they're not on the outside of the clubhouse, they're probably going to want to listen to what you have to say. And so ultimately, that's what I'm trying to get better at every day in my job. So instead of training to make yourself less, from a fat loss perspective, which is totally awesome, think about training to make yourself more. So I have the 3 C's on the left there, and that's capable, confident, and courageous. And I have a 3-step process that I use mentally. First one is capable. Most guys, if you see them in the gym, they automatically assume they know what to do. And they'll, the age-old adage is, after you're driving in the car with a guy, he doesn't want to stop for directions and you do. He doesn't want to read the directions on how to put them together that you do, right? So guys are very stubborn in that manner, but a lot of the women that I train usually are afraid they're doing things wrong, or they're always, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Like, I hear that question a ton of times. So the first C, capable, relates to show them that they're capable of doing something. Give them something that they can perform that's challenging enough that they know they're doing, that it's working, but that they're not worried that they're doing it wrong and that if they screw up, it's going to be a total catastrophe, because that's the last thing we want. Once they feel that they're capable, then that builds confidence. And then that's when the wheels start turning in their head, and they start, instead of walking in the gym, hunched over, eyes looking up and down, they walk in the gym, chest nice and tall, eyes looking forward, because they know that they are capable of doing, X amount of things in this room. And this applies to any gym, by the way. From there, then the confidence translates into becoming courageous. And instead of, they know now that they're confident, they can do certain things, so they now look for other opportunities to challenge their courage and see what they're made of. So I see this a lot. People will come in, they'll start off with, let's say, a plank, right? That's very, very hard. They work out to 60 seconds. Awesome, cool. Now they're capable of doing 60 seconds. Now they want more. So what do? You take that confidence, you give them a push-up variation. You build on that. And then all of a sudden they're talking, they bring this up. I don't even have the same thing. They're saying, can I add weights to my push-up? Can I add a band? Can I put chains around me? Yeah, you can. And one of our quotes from our members, which illustrates this perfectly, is, in less than a year I've taken my strength and my confidence and my strength from 0 to hero. So it's not just about how strong you are, because if there's one thing that's true, strength is very much a mental thing. And there's lots of people who are very, very strong, or stronger than they think they are, that don't even think that they're strong. So it's not about necessarily the outward appearance of your strength, it's about how you relate to your strength from an inward perspective. And as you can see, that's one of our staff with a shirt, which I think is an awesome quote: "Lives like Tarzan, he looks like Jane." So I think that, I don't know about you, but I think most people here would agree that that's what they're going for. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, next slide. So now we can talk about more of the change in the paradigm as opposed from losing or training to strength to training to improve yourself. So I would say strength training is not something you have to do, it's something you get to do. And when you change your mindset from, I'm training at a place of, I don't like how I am, or I'm dissatisfied, or a negative mindset, to a positive mindset, instead of, I have to go to the gym, I have to do this. Train because you get to do it, because you have an amazing body that's totally capable, that has an infinite number of possibilities for adaptation, and it's really like one of those adventure books that you use when you're a kid. Or turn to page 10 and go on this track. Turn to page 15 and go on this track. You will never know until you try. So what I would say to everyone is train because you get to do it, regardless of what it is. Again, I'm not saying everyone has to strength train. do what you love. And then the other thing is, again, train because don't train because you hate your body, train because you love your body and you appreciate what you can do. Aesthetics are great. I think we're all in the gym to look better in some way, shape, or form, but training for performance as well, to either come in and lift more weight than last time, do more reps than last time, have a quicker time than last time, adds another aspect to your fitness routine that aesthetics alone cannot give you, because if you only have one metric with which you measure progress with, when that kind of stalls out or peters out, what else can you gauge how well you're doing by it, right? So performance is another way you can tell, am I progressing, am I getting towards where my goal is, or am I kind of just treading water? Okay? Excellent. So what is strength training? Just give me some, show us some words. What do you think strength training is? Shai says bicep curls. Okay, cool. Anyone else have any ideas? Resistance training. Awesome. Cool. Anyone else? Toning is, yes, toning is associated with strength training, yeah. Anyone else? Body weight, yeah. Gymnasts are some of the strongest individuals in the world, and they train with mostly just their body weight, right? So my thing is whatever makes you stronger, that whatever meets you where you're at in terms of your starting point and your abilities to move and your injury history, and allows you to progress from there, right? So it's less about the actual method, like I said. Like people are like, oh, I do TRX, I do kettlebells, I lift the barbell. The method doesn't matter as much as the reason behind it, right? So if you can find something that you can do well, again, right on the edge of your comfort zone, you can progress in such a way that you know you're progressing from a performance standpoint, so you're getting stronger, and it's fun. I'd say that's making you stronger, because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy it, probably not going to stick to it. Now, heavy and strong, quotation marks, they're both relative terms. So it's easy to look at someone on Instagram, on Fitocracy and any of the fitness websites, see them do something, you're like, wow, that's crazy, right? That's really heavy. But ultimately, what's heavy to you and what's strong to you is very different than what's strong and heavy for me, right? And so that's why this is, the main takeaway I would like to impress upon you guys is just, this is your own individual journey. If you're going to compare to inspire yourself, don't compare to discourage yourself. Because there's always going to be someone that's stronger or fitter than you, and there's always going to be someone that's starting from a lot lower place than you, right? So this is where we kind of take on the adventure book mentality, and choose your own path. Where do you want to go? What hero do you want to be, right? And the last thing I would say is strength isn't just a male thing; it's a human thing. I think if the vast amount of history in the past 50 years showing us that women are more than capable at creating social change. Margaret Thatcher in the British government overcoming, British dominated or male dominated law, right? It was a prime example of that. The suffrage movement to allow women to vote is a prime example of that. That takes a lot of strength, and that's maybe not strength in the physical, I can lift the bar sense, but that's strength in terms of a mental and having a goal that you want to really, really pursue. So whenever someone says, oh, you want to be strong, it's like, what, am I human? Yeah, okay. Maybe strength is a good thing to pursue. Okay, next thing. So I don't know if you guys can really see this, but this is what happens when you encourage an environment where people are allowed to get strong and totally be supported. So we had a powerlifting meet for some of our members back in November of last year, and out of the majority of signups, I think about 90% were girls. And that, to most people that have been to a powerlifting meet, which you normally compete, you do the squat, you do the bench, and you do the deadlift, that's not seen as a norm. But I found that was really freaking awesome, because here we got, a group of girls who are totally kicking ass, right? Several of them, I think the winner overall was a girl. We had a little mini competition. And through that, we spawned the creation of our powerlifting club, which meets every Sunday at 1. And we have, I think out of the 14 that have shown up, I think 12 of them are girls, right? So people are like, oh, it's not a welcoming thing, it's intimidating. Yeah, it can be. I totally agree with you. If you go into any commercial gym, again, where there's no supportive environment, but you find a place where you have a bunch of like-minded individuals that are all pursuing the same thing, and you watch magic happen, right? Cool. Next slide. So why should you strength train? So we can get into some of the sciencey stuff. I'm not going to get too crazy detail. Some of the benefits: increased bone density, huge, especially as you get older, because by and large, on average, women have less bone density than men, and resistance training, whether it's body weight or a bar or kettlebells or whatever it is, will help to improve that. So from a longevity standpoint, major importance. Increased muscle mass. Obviously, we know that muscles can grow or shrink. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It is, putting an investment in your weight loss bank long term. It will make weight loss way easier in the long term the stronger that you are, because that'll mean you can do more work. And that ties to the next one, which is more functional capacity. So what is functional capacity? Usually how I describe that is anything that makes your everyday function easier. So if you can go in the gym, lift way more than you did a year ago, I would think that carrying bags of groceries is probably going to be a lot easier of a task. And I think the biggest one is confidence, right? That's huge. Because if you can that'll impact you more in your everyday life than any of the other benefits, in my opinion. You can walk into a job interview knowing that you just went into the gym this morning and deadlifted 225 pounds to your personal best. Like, something that interview doesn't seem like such a big, taxing, arduous task, right? And then the last one is aha moments. So what are aha moments? Next slide, please. So these are some nice quotations from some of our members. So you see some of the similar trends in their wording with what I've been kind of talking about. So increased stamina and strength. She mentions lifting and grocery bags to and from her car, carrying bags to her office, easy. Julie had a great quote, which is, it's not about her ideals she holds mentally, it's more about what her body's capable of. So instead of walking by the mirror and sucking her stomach, now she flexes and kind of laughs at herself, right? I think that's incredibly precious and really, really awesome. Grew up another one of our members who does a lot of her graphic design stuff. She's really, really great. Again, she doesn't walk around with her back because she carries a bag all the time, right? Trust me, for every 3 of these, I've got 100 more similar testimonials of just how much challenge yourself progressively to make your everyday life easier. And open your mind to a bunch of possibilities you never thought possible. Like, when we started Powerlifting Club, I think no one even had in their head that they wanted to do powerlifting meet one day, they want to go compete, become a competitive athlete, right? Now we have people who are actually coming up with ideas for the singlets that we would wear, right? They're coming up with plans. Oh, what do you think I should lift this week? Like, they're setting their own goals, and that's one of the awesome things. It's like playing video games and unlocking an achievement, right? You get one level down, and then you level up, and then you level up again, and you level up, and every time you level up, it gets a little bit more challenging. But you discover new things about yourself that ultimately are going to propel you on the way towards your goal. So it's really great stuff. Next slide, please. So yeah, everyone knows this World War II propaganda poster. So my 6 tips or main kind of takeaways would be basics first. So again, if you're not sure what to do, start basic. There is no shame in the basics. One of the biggest tenets in martial arts is that up to 90% of the finishing moves, let's say MMA, are usually only 5 moves, right? So the basics take up a lot of your ways to submit someone in mixed martial arts. So everyone is always looking for the newest, greatest, training methodology, the fancy thing, the infomercial on late night TV. I would encourage everyone just get really great at the basics. There is no problem with that, and the basics will take you really, really far. Once you get far enough, then you can start dabbling in 20% of the funny stuff, and again, it has to be fun. So make the basics fun. Build on success. So there are always going to be times during your journey where you will forget why you started, right? You'll forget because things are hard, because there's such a situation, whatever it is. Those are the times you need to look back at your previous success and be like, I've either been here before and done it, so I can easily do it again. Or I've had this stepping stone leading up to this next step. So building success. Start for a squat, for example. Start off with a goblet squat, holding the weight here and squatting. Build on that success and take it with a bar, right? Then build on that success so you can go to single leg, right? So it's that achievement unlocked mentality, right? When in doubt, find a coach, right? I mean, guys suck at this. Hey, can you help me? No. The amount of times I've heard that guy say that is we can count that on my one hand. Find a coach that knows what they're doing. that connects with you, because again, it's all about the connection. It doesn't matter if you don't connect with them, you're not going to listen to what they have to say. That is in line or can take you to where you want to go. So it may not be like, they don't necessarily have to have done the same thing you do, but they should know how to get you there. Ask questions. Never be afraid to ask questions. I think if there's one thing the school system has taught us, it's that if you put your hand up in class, you're seen as an idiot. And I can't disagree more. Obviously, there's a time to train, there's a time to work out hard, but when you have your off time or in between sets, ask questions. Ask why you're doing something in the gym. Ask why you're doing this exercise. Demand a higher standard from, if you're a senior personal trainer right now or strength coach, demand a higher standard. Demand to know why you're doing certain things. And if they can't give you an answer, well, maybe you should probably see another one. Make mistakes. This is another thing the school system taught us, is that failure is terrible, right? Which I do not believe that it is. You want to be able to fail or make mistakes in a way that does not, run you off the rails training-wise and get you injured. So again, that's kind of ties in with basics first and working within your capacity. But don't be afraid to, mess up. That's part of being human. The basic premise of progressive overload exercise is that you're damaging your muscle, so your muscle can repair and come back stronger. That in itself is your muscles fail to do its job and it's repairing, right? So that is a big part of the human condition. And if you can have a mindset where failure does not mean the end of the world, failure does not mean that you are a failure, it just means you failed at one thing. That can be used as a learning experience to move forward. And I think that is a huge, huge turnaround in terms of mindset, which we see in our members, where they're no longer afraid of making mistakes. The people that come in and apologize all the time when they do something wrong or they can't remember something, no longer do that anymore. They're just like, okay, they brush it off, shake off your shoulders, go on to the next thing. It's cool. And enjoy the journey. If you're in this for the long term, like I am, I want to be in this for the rest of my life. So the extremist mindsets that are focused more on beating you up for the sake of exhaustion or sweating your lungs out is a sign of a good workout. I think it turned off. Sweating your lungs out is a sign of a good workout. Puking all over the floor. That has a time and a place, but I would say that makes up probably about 10% of your training in a year. Majority of the time, it's just going in and trying to make slow and steady improvements, right? Trying to get better at one thing. If you're ever unsure about what to do in the gym, just try to get better at one thing than you did last week, right? That you accomplished that, right? And that goes in hand with managing expectations. It becomes less about being perfect or doing everything right all the time, and more about how is that a little bit better of a person than yesterday, or than last year, or 5 years ago. Okay, next slide. And so again, more takeaways. Make it fun. I'm going to say this all the time. Make it fun. Make it fun. Make it fun. You should be able to laugh and joke and chirp each other when you're on the gym floor. It's fine. The last thing I want to see is a totally silent gym floor where people are slogging through a monotonous workout with tears coming out of their eyes and frowns on their faces. It's not a good training environment. So make it fun. And again, that kind of goes around with finding a community of people to do it with. If you have 4 negative people around you and you're the one positive one, I wouldn't be surprised if soon enough you become the negative one. We all know, we all have friends like that who want to drag down the group, right? So find people around you that you can do this stuff with, that make it fun to do it with. Embrace your inner superhero. So everyone has their superpower. Everyone has something that they are good at, whether it's in the exercise world or whether it's in your personality, right? So part of this awesome journey of strength training or training in general is learning what's your superpower. What am I good at? Is it connecting with people? Is it learning how to explain an exercise well? Is it that I'm better at squats than I'm better at deadlifts? Cool. Is it I'm better at presses than I'm better at kettlebell swings? Awesome. Find your strengths and build on those. But also take the time to build up your weaknesses as well, because that's probably a good principle to follow. And then the last one is it's all about community. So we have, I think, Shy's in the photo. She didn't work out, but we have 5 other of the members of the gym after a hard session laying down on the turf for a photo, right? That is pretty much our 7:30 roster, I think. Monday and Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, so everyone's had a good time, everyone's all pooped out, great session, all smiles, right? That's what I go to work for every single day. Next slide. So we're gonna do a little Q&A. I think I ran through that really fast. And you can't really see the website, but the website for the resources is www.bankfitness.com. Obviously, shameless plug. Okay, so Q&A. If you have any questions, fire them off. I'm more than happy to answer anything.
I have a statement.
Oh.
That's super fly cool, what the analogy between progressive overload and failure. That's so neat. It's true, you damage your muscle and you rebuild from it. That's really cool.
Awesome, thank you.
What's your favorite? No, that's not fake.
No, go ahead.
No. What's your favorite exercise?
My favorite exercise? Is this about you guys? Alright, fine. I'll talk about myself. Probably the deadlift, but again, people are usually, people's favorite exercise is usually what they're good at, and I'm built to deadlift, so my favorite is deadlift, right? And you'll see very rarely guys will be like, yeah, my favorite exercise is the one I suck at. No, that doesn't happen.
And so you empower women by sharing that's what you've done?
Yeah, well, it's, again, like I think in terms of the basic human movements, if you're ever gonna, be in doubt about how to construct a good strength training program, I would say there's 6, right? So you have a hinge, where your hips go backwards and then forwards, right? You have a squat where your hips go down and then up. You have a push, both horizontal and vertical. You have a pull, both horizontal like a row and vertical like a chin. You have a lunge, some people would say lunge. Not everyone's on the same boat in that terms of that one. And you have rotation. So either rotation from the hips or rotation from the trunk, right? So if you ever were like, I don't know how to design a program, go look up an exercise for each one of those categories, put them in a row, either 3 and then 3 with a little bit of rest in between, try different rep schemes, and run through it and see how it feels. This is all part of the trial and error process. What's going to work for me is not going to work for Shai, or not going to work for my sister, right? So this is all part of your own personal journey, and this is why it's so good to make mistakes. Because when you make mistakes, you have a good mentality about failing forward, right? So instead of failing backwards from where I started, I fail forward. So I'm stepping forward to what I want to do. That will ultimately lend itself way better to the puzzle-solving mindset than, I'm not sure what to do, so I'm not going to do anything, right? So again, big 6 moves, when in doubt, try different rep ranges, right? For lower reps, generally you're going to see more focus on strength work, which is good. And then for higher reps, you're going to develop more of the muscular endurance side of things, right? And you generally want to have a mix of both. But if there's one thing I will say is that, again, people like to gravitate towards what they're good at. Guys who lift really heavy and only like the 1, 2, and 3 rep range, you put them on a sled, and all of a sudden they're dying, right? There's a benefit to kind of training with a balanced perspective, developing all the qualities, so your aerobic capacity, your maximal strength, your repetition ever strength, your power, right? People don't jump anymore. We don't do this. Since we stop being kids and jump around the playground, right? So try to develop everything, right? And then down the line, you can figure out, is this worth pursuing? Is this going to help me get towards where I want to go? Is jumping going to necessarily translate to making me a more fit individual or stronger individual, right? And these are just questions that everyone has to ask on their own journey. That's a good question. Any others? Yeah, go ahead.
It was interesting when you were talking before about facilities. So I'm one of the girls that's in the middle. I love doing things with my friends. I just came from burlesque downstairs. That was fun. But for the majority of the time, I have a background in varsity rugby and I'm a figure athlete. So I actually like doing heavy stuff on my own. I don't want people talking to me.
Yeah.
And I want to do heavy things.
Yeah.
I find that when they have the girls section of gyms, they have up to 15, 20 pounds and they just assume that girls don't want to live past that. So I always end up in the guys section and I'm just used to being the only girl for my whole life. And that is just frustrating because you're in the middle and you're like even when they're developing things for girls, they still really associate it to the feminine side of girl person. It's still an imbalance in the world.
Yeah.
That's my comment.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think I can go back to my quote, strength is not just a male thing, it's a human thing. So the whole idea of guy section and girl section is just further perpetuating this mindset that women need to do cardio and men need to lift weights, right? And it's not really going to help us progress as a society in terms of how we think about exercise unless we can have more individuals like yourself who are challenging that. And again, anyone can do whatever they want to do. I'm never going to say go do something you're so comfortable that you know, go step in the weight room even if you're not comfortable. You got to start somewhere. But what I would say is, yeah, you go into any commercial gym. I've heard the salespeople trying to sign a girl up and be like, this is the cardio section, this is where you'll be doing most of your training. And girls have been like, what are you talking about? And then leave. Like, you just stereotype me, right? Like, that is the whole reason you're going in the gym is to change your body to not become stereotypical, right? I.e. the normal sedentary lifestyle that most North Americans lead, right? So the irony of that is they just stereotype you walking in to do something that they don't consider, you know, is something a woman should do, right? But yeah, again, everyone starts somewhere. There's a place with 15 and 20 pound dumbbells. Maybe not for you, but for an individual coming in that's just starting out, that should be heavy to them, right? Yeah.
I meant there's no like after, like even some exercises I did like a 2 pounder so that's not my point.
Yeah.
To me, they limit the options, and then you're like, okay, well now I have to go to the section anyway, so that was completely pointless.
Yeah. So then again, you like training your own. You mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't have to be a social club. If you're done with thing, right? You're like, why are you lifting so heavy, right? Or why are you doing this, right? That people understand that it's okay for both genders to be strong, right? Yeah. Anyone else?
What are your thoughts on the stereotypical quote that lifting makes girls get too buff?
Okay. So my answer to that would be what you consider buff. Because every girl has a different definition of what buff is.
Looks like a man.
Both.
That's what I've heard.
Well, I don't know if you looked at the rate like statistically, but the North American man does not look that buff. If you look overall, right? So I don't know what we're trying to go at here, but yeah. So the first question I ask is always, what do you consider bulky? Because I've heard girls say that Jessica Biel's bulky, which I personally don't think so, but I'm a guy, I'm allowed to, you know, my own things. And I've heard girls say that, you know, Tyra Banks is bulky or Kim Kardashian's bulky. And again, it's all your own preference, right? Instead of worrying about what someone else looks like as a result of their training program, train hard and your body will naturally go towards the shape that it was designed to be, right? And there's always a bit of wiggle room, right? But I think one of the biggest problems is that of comparison and seeing how someone else is and assuming that if you do what they do, you're going to look exactly like they look. Because we're all different heights, we all have different limb lengths, we all have different muscle insertion points, right? We all have different hormone levels, we all have different dietary preferences, right? We all have different levels of work capacity, we're all at different places on the training age scale, so the newbie to experience, right? So instead of looking at, like, again, it's so easy to look at the female bodybuilder in the magazine and see that glimpse and think that if I do what she does, I'm gonna look like her. And you don't see the 20 years before that she has trained to get to that point. Or the drugs that she takes, right? Or the diet that she eats. Or the amount of sleep that she gets, or the job that she does, or the amount of stress that she has, or if she has kids, she doesn't have kids. So instead of looking at like the tip of the iceberg, when you see this kind of, you know, fitness and motivational stuff, look a bit deeper and try to think, are they doing what I could do? If not, what can I do? Like, what can I take away from what they do to get to where they want to go, right? Because again, comparison will breed, you know, inspiration or discouragement, and it's usually the second one. That's the thing. I think we're okay for time, yeah? We're cutting. I'm cut? Okay, cool. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming out. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm free to talk in the back if you have any more questions.